Before we get started, I'd like to take the time and thank every one of you for helping me get to 700 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet and you like movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, consider subscribing and helping me get to 1K. Also, I have a podcast with my good friend Unity Review and Analysis called Another Review's Core Podcast, where we talk about what's trending in the movie, TV, game world. All the links will be in the description down below, and please subscribe. Thank you. Now back to the video. What's up YouTube, this is Red Devilosa from Red Devilos Reviews. Today marks the 85th anniversary of Batman, and I thought it would be a good time to complete the second part of my Bat Family Fancast video series. Part 1 had my thoughts for Robin and Batgirl in the Batman universe. This one will be for the new Gunverse version in the DCU. Be sure to check out Part 1 from the card above. This one will feature more characters from the Bat Family, as we were told that Brave and the Bold would include them. I also tried to account for Bat Family ages that would make sense for Damian Wayne to be active while keeping Millie Alcock as the new Supergirl in mind and adjusting the ages according to her. Speaking of Damian, I won't have him in the video as I won't be able to cast him based on his specific ethnicity properly. I'll leave that to a professional. I also talked about Dick and Babs before Nightwing and Oracle respectively in Part 1. Their descriptions in this part will talk more about the next phase of their superhero careers, so keep this in mind. And with that, we'll start off with Orphan.
Quite the family reunion we have here today. Lady Shiva, let Orphan go. No. Since you refuse to surrender what's mine, I'm taking what's yours.
Cassandra Kane is the daughter of two of the world's greatest assassins, David Kane and Lady Shiva. They served in the League of Assassins under Ra's al Ghul. They conceived Cassandra to have the perfect bodyguard for Ra's. She spent most of her childhood training in combat. This allowed Cass to have the ability to learn how to read the body language of people and anticipate their next move. However, this affected her as she was not taught to read or speak. This would cause an extreme case of dyslexia. Her father got her to test her abilities in the real world, but after she killed a man, she realized that her dad was evil and she ran away. Years later, she finds her way into Gotham City and finds herself with Batman after she saves Commissioner Gordon from being assassinated by her own father. She gets adopted by Bruce Wayne and becomes the fourth person to be Batgirl. She also takes the names of Orphan and Black Bat as well. She would go to Barbara for advice and even thought of her as the closest thing to a mother. And her best friend, Stephanie Brown, is one of those polar opposite friends that work so well together. Her relationship/rivalry with her mother comes with interesting stories, with the two having polar opposite views on life. They can never agree with their methods and sometimes fight to the death, but they respect each other. Cassandra will always step up to stop her mother. Ashley Liao is my pick for Orphan, best known for Fuller House and The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. In Physical, she plays a character that becomes friends with Rose Byrne's character and has a determined and no-nonsense attitude. She also had a dynamic selection of roles, from a princess turned queen in the secret society of second-born royals to a girl accepted into medical school. Still, she wants to pursue dance against her parents' wishes and love in Taipei. In terms of action ability, she's shown athletic ability in The Kicks, where she had to learn how to play soccer for the role, and she has a black belt in Taekwondo. She also has voice acting experience, which would be helpful for the ADR when she wears the Black Bat mask. Ashley's experience across different genres and mediums would make her an effective Cassandra Kane.
If I learned anything from Clue Master, it's that no matter how hard it is to admit your dear old dad's one of the bad guys, sooner or later, you have to walk away.
Stephanie Brown is the daughter of the criminal Arthur Brown, also known as the Clue Master. He spent most of her childhood in prison. Her mother wasn't any better, as she was a pharmaceutical addict who wasn't there for Steph when she needed her. However, she does change for the better after Steph deals with teenage pregnancy. When Steph learns that her father is still committing crimes after he said he was reformed, she dons herself a costume and becomes the Spoiler. The idea is that she would spoil her father's plans by leaving clues for the police and Batman so they could stop him. She was tracked down by the Robin at the time, Tim Drake, and they have been in a long-lasting relationship for decades. Stephanie has also been the fourth official Robin after Tim was forced to step down as Robin by his dad. And yes, she was Robin before Damian. She was also the sixth Batgirl as well. I like Steph as a character. She is the light of the Bat family in a sense. She is also relatable as she wasn't trained in a circus like Dick, or has a high level of intelligence like Tim, or was made to be the perfect soldier like Cass and Damien. She's just willing to work to help bring justice to Gotham City. She's been through a lot with teenage pregnancy, her death and revival from war games, her strained relationship with her parents, and her constant doubt from Batman and her friends, and all that. Steph has been through a lot, but her hard work, determination, and ability to stay positive over everything makes her who she is. For Stephanie, I have Kylie Rogers, best known for Yellowstone and Beau is Afraid. Kylie is a great young talent who has worked with Russell Crowe, Julia Garner, and Joaquin Phoenix. In Fathers and Daughters, she plays a younger version of Amanda Seyfried's character who has a difficult time growing up due to the passing of her mother and her father getting brain damage that makes it difficult for them to spend time together, despite his efforts. In Yellowstone, she has a recurring role in flashback scenes where we learn she got her mother killed because she was unable to control her fear of riding horses. Her mother made sure to let her know that she died because of her. There are setups from her adult counterparts with elements that build her sociopathic and vulnerable nature, holding grudges and self-loathing. She also dealt with teenage pregnancy as well in the show. She has a small but impactful role in Beau is Afraid, where she gives a stressful performance with the death of her brother, her parents trying to take their love and attention from her. Beau takes her room feeling as if she was trying to replace her brother, down to feeling like that all she has left is her name. She downs a can of paint, blaming Beau for all of it, as well as her mother without the context. Kylie's ability to tackle light and dark characteristics on a dime makes her an effective choice for a spoiler.
Yeah! We did it! We aced him! I set him up, you take him out. 1-2, huh, Batman?
Tim Drake is the third person to take up the Robin mantle. He's different from Dick and Jason in the sense that he wasn't a poor orphan. He came from a wealthy family. The Drakes attended the circus event where the Grayson parents lost their lives. Tim became a massive fan of the dynamic duo at the age of 9, and he was able to deduce that Dick Grayson was Robin due to seeing footage of Robin completing a quadruple somersault, which he remembered seeing Dick do it before, and thus concluding that Bruce Wayne is Batman, given that Bruce adopts Dick after his parents were murdered. After the death of Jason Todd, Tim notices that Batman is getting more violent and reckless, so he goes to Dick, who is now Nightwing at this time, and he tries to convince him to become Robin once again because Tim believed that Batman needs a Robin. Dick and Alfred agrees with Tim, but they believe Tim should be that next Robin. Tim was also the first Robin to get his own comic series where he would fight his own crime. His forced retirement from the role after his father found out he was Robin so that Jack would not expose Bruce as Batman, and developing his long-lasting relationship with Stephanie Brown. Yes, I'm an unironic Steph-a-Tim's shipper. The Young Justice comics, where Tim was one of the founders, unlike the animated show, is where the two of them shine. Tim is also bisexual and is currently in a relationship with his old friend Bernard. Despite him being the third Robin, there's much material to work with his character, including how, in the reboot, Tim goes by Red Robin out of respect for Jason Todd, as well as just embracing that he loved being Robin compared to the other two. Tim gets much respect from his peers. He's best known as the smartest Robin, with a superior level of tech and detective skills to the point that Ra's al Ghul also refers to him as detective, as he does with Batman. Jason was jealous of Tim and was able to beat him in a fight, but he did respect Tim as he believed that maybe he could have been a better Robin if he also had the love, support, and friends that Tim had. The downside I have, despite how touching I found it was for Bruce to adopt Tim after his father was brutally murdered, which I don't like that part in general due to how it was soon after Jack finally accepted his son as Robin. He's been in limbo after they stripped away his civilian life and supporting cast outside of the mask and took out what made him a unique Robin outside of the smart and bisexual Robin, which we'll get to the former in a bit. I just hope they find a way to balance Tim in process and avoid this limbo. Chance Hurstfield is my pick for Tim, best known for Fat Man and A Million Little Things. In Fat Man, he plays a spoiled rich kid who is obsessed with his image, success, and accolades and will do anything to win. He can turn on the charm when he wants to, but it's all a facade. his agendas are clear, and once he is able to put his mind to something, nothing will stop him from achieving it. Hell, he hires a hitman to intimidate a kid who he believed only won due to cheating, and has the hitman try to take out Santa when he is given coal for Christmas. In A Million Little Things, he plays a kid who lost his father at a young age, and he tries to become the man of the house. He prioritizes his mother and sister above himself and his happiness. He shows loyalty and a selfless nature during his run of the show. He's also dealing with his sexuality amid all of his responsibilities. Chance also has experience of voice acting, which would be useful for ADR and the plan Gunn had with the DCU utilizing a mix of live action and animated series for this new universe.
You go about your business as usual, but kick up 40% to me. That's a much sweeter deal than the scraps Black Mask is leaving you. In return, you will have total protection from both Black Mask and Batman. But you stay away from kids in schoolyards. No dealing to children, got it? If you do, you're dead.
The second to take up the Robin mantle, Jason Todd was the son of a small-time criminal father and a drug-addicted mother who wasn't his real mother in Gotham City. His father was arrested and he never returned in Jason's life. When Jason got older, he would help out his mother by stealing car parts for cash. One day, Jason came across the Batmobile and Batman caught him in the act. Batman tried to place Jason back in a school for troubled kids, but because this is Gotham, that was a school training young criminals. Batman decided to channel the boy's anger against criminals rather than turn into one. Jason didn't have the acrobatic or detective skills like Dick did, but Jason had a different set of skills from living on the streets of Gotham. Jason did not have an easy time as he learned that Two-Face killed his father. His time on the streets gave him a blurred line between what is right and wrong. He would use excessive force on criminals. More chaos would ensue due to the death in the family. Jason would find his real mother, but she was blackmailed into embezzling funds to cover up that she was providing medical supplies to the Joker. Joker would brutally beat Jason with a crowbar and leave Jason and his mother to die. They tried to escape, but they failed. All Batman could do when he arrived too late was carry Jason's lifeless body. For the next 10 years of stories, Batman was haunted by the fact that he couldn't protect Jason. He didn't train him properly. He couldn't save him from the Joker. Batman would leave Jason's Robin costume on display in the Batcave to remind himself of the consequences his actions can have. Years later, after some multiversal shenanigans happen, Jason rose from his coffin. Talia al Ghul takes Jason to the Lazarus Pit for a full recovery. Jason was disgusted to learn that his death was never avenged. This is where we get into Under the Red Hood, where he takes the mantle to remind him what the Joker did to him, as well as be a foil to what Joker allegedly was before becoming the Joker. Jason has been in the motions, especially with Bruce, as well as the battle for the cowl, and his time reformed in the Bat family, as well as his own team, the Outlaws, where he was first teamed up with Starfire and Arsenal, and then with Artemis of Benamigdal and Bizarro. Gabriel Bateman is my pick for Red Hood, best known for Annabelle, Child's Play, and The Fabelmans. In Child's Play, he plays an older reboot version of Andy Barclay. He's a moody teen who prefers to be on his smartphone or TV all day and stay inside rather than make real friends. His mom is lazy but overregulates his personal life, her boyfriend is an abusive dick, and this dangerous robot is trying to kill him. He jumps in the face of danger when his mother is close to death to Chucky. He also dealt with harsh treatments from the police due to getting blamed from crimes Chucky committed. He also has experience in voice acting, which will be useful for someone who has to wear a Red Hood helmet. Bateman would be a good Jason.
It's funny. I was waiting for Dad to do his protective father bit. I had it all ready in my head what I was gonna say. But he didn't go there. He just told me that he loved me and that he was proud. Maybe he hit his head.
Maybe he's starting to see you. The real you.
Barbara takes Oracle as the superhero mantle after the Joker paralyzes her in The Killing Joke. While this was a horrible event for Barbara or anyone else to experience, I think this is where the character meant a lot after this tragic event. Barbara could have just wallowed in pity, or she could have done something about it. Oracle gives Barbara the choice to continue to help and save lives even if her legs can't do so. Oracle allowed Barbara to rely on her brain and help many superheroes and have her own team like the Birds of Prey. She also untapped a maternal instinct for some of the younger characters, as she was a role model to not just characters in the DC comics, but also to the real world as well. While yes, she still had elements like self-doubt and PTSD from the events, it still doesn't define her as a person. She even tells Joker that he didn't take anything from her. For Oracle, I have Annalise Basso, best known for horror films like Ouija Origin of Evil and Slender Man, as well as Snowpiercer. In Snowpiercer, she's a psychopath with no feeling of remorse as she manipulates her actions to benefit her end. Sometimes she has feelings, despite keeping them suppressed. Her selfish and hunger for power leaves her alone with no one who cares about her, which is what eventually breaks her down. The Heaven Castillo trilogy isn't that faithful to the original V.C. Andrews novels, but she comes from a poor upbringing with a lot of siblings to take care of due to her father being neglectful. Her stepmother angrily storms off after giving birth to a stillborn, and her grandmother passing away. She had to stop going to school and take the responsibility to feed her siblings. After the dad sells his kids off for money, she's put in a rich home where the foster mother abuses her, and the foster dad takes advantage of the abuse to seduce her. Annalise can play a character that's dealt with traumatic events, but she can find hope or find a new perspective to fight on, which would make her a good choice for Oracle.
I bet I could stay up here all night. Sure you can. Dick? Dick! I was an acrobat, you know?
Nightwing is the superhero mantle that Dick Grayson takes after growing out of the Robin phase. He had much respect for Batman, and they agreed that no kid should suffer the losses that they did, but they differed in perspective on how they should go view the world, as Dick would rather remember the wonderful childhood he had, while Bruce cannot do that. One of my favorite things about Nightwing that I don't expect to happen in the DCU is that how he got his name Nightwing from his other mentor, Superman. Based on the Kryptonian superhero legend Clark would tell him about, Nightwing is meant to be a combination of everything that he learned from Batman and Superman to make him the hero that he is in his city, Bloodhaven. As a civilian, Dick enlists as a rookie police officer to help serve against crime in and out of the costume. At this point, Dick has also been a mentor for other Robins and Batgirls like Babs, as well as visiting Batman and Alfred for old time's sake here and there. There is a bit of a misconception with Dick, considering the Bat family in general gets shoehorned like the Ninja Turtles when they aren't like that. Dick isn't the quippy and happy-go-lucky guy. He can get impatient and impulsive. He can relate to Damian very well, but he is willing to put his foot down as a determined leader. He's vastly intelligent, as well as one of the best detectives considering who he was trained under. He isn't a bumbling fool that could get captured so easily. Oh, and he's not a womanizer. This list can go on, but you get the idea. Just like part 1, I have 2 picks for Dick, depending on what is valued for the character. For the first pick, I have Chandler Riggs, best known for The Walking Dead and A Million Little Things. In The Walking Dead, he plays the son of Rick Grimes. Given that he is a character for 77 episodes, we were able to see his growth from being one who needed protection and realizing he was a liability to getting more assertive in the zombie apocalypse, or the Walker apocalypse. For the second pick, I have Aramis Knight. Typically, I avoid putting actors and actresses currently active in another comic book property, but this is the one time I don't care, because my god, this man is wasted in Miss Marvel. He was more entertaining than the main guy they had as the lead, but outside of that, it also shows that he's capable of action as well as from Into the Badlands. In Centurion, the Dancing Stallion, he plays a hard-working character who needs to help return the horse, Centurion, back home. He learns to overcome fears from past trauma so that he can learn how to perform on a horse again, with the help from Amber Midthunder's character. Once again, 2 options for Dick. Either one can work well.
She and her father were very fond of you. I was a different person then. Yes, intense, driven, moody. She'd never recognize you now.
The last but important member of the immediate Bat family, the first one in fact, Alfred adopts the young Bruce Wayne after his parents were brutally gunned down. While he is a butler who can help upkeep Wayne Manor while Bruce is Batman, his time from his younger days as a secret agent has him trained as a medic, a good actor that can make him a natural liar, and pretty good with a shotgun if needed. Of course, we can't forget how he is the moral center and father figure to Bruce and the fellow Bat family. There isn't a task too big or too small for Alfred to take part in. This respect is carried along with other DC heroes as well. I'm not going to act like the role of Alfred is that difficult to select, as it depends on what works for you. Keri Elwes would be my pick. I just like the idea of the man in black from The Princess Bride as Alfred. Of course, there are the likes of Stranger Things, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1. He's going to be in Knuckles later this year. Multiple voice roles that would be useful for calm interactions in the cowl. He'd be a good Alfred.
You are a disgrace.
No, you are not my father. I am not a disgrace. I am vengeance. I am the Knight. I am Batman!
So I guess this is a surprise, but not really, because we kinda do need a new Batman now. And honestly, with what we have for Superman Legacy cast as of right now, I can't really tell what Gunn wants for Batman. There doesn't seem to be any consistency with who he casts for the film. But here are some ideas I could guess about his Batman. I would assume his Batman needs some wear and tear, as this is a Batman that has already had his Bat family done. I never liked this idea when it was announced, not just for Batman, but for the Bat family as well, given how much story there is with each of them along with Batman. But that goes into a problem I find with adapting a DC universe that has much respect for the main heroes and the younger generations, and how that could be difficult to include and condense both of these aspects in the span of a probable 10-year plus arc that could be discussed for another time. But here's a few ideas. Tom Bateman is one option I have, best known for Murder on Orient Express, Death on the Nile, Vanity Fair. Everyone and their mom knows about Jensen Ackles and how much he's been associated with Batman and his mythos for a long time. He has the cosplay and he is open to playing the character because duh, who would say no to playing Batman? The next three are just the ones that I prefer more. They all vary in age because, again, I don't know how Gunn thinks. Ken Lutz is one option, also from the Twilight series like Robert Pattinson, as well as The Expendables and FBI Most Wanted. This sort of experience gives him a general basics of Batman with combat, supernatural exposure, as well as detective work for the character. Dan Stevens is another option, but to be fair, I could cast that guy in a lot of characters as he is phenomenal. He may be more for the older side, considering that the plan is a full Bat family plus his son. It seems plausible to consider. And Brandon Sklenar is my last one. He is the youngest of the three, and the youngest in general, and he is one of the more popular fan casts on Twitter at the moment, as a way to be similar to David Cornsweet was for Superman. I do know of him from Vice with Christian Bale, as well as Yellowstone 1923. It's just one of those situations where I wish I got to say that back in 2022 before the hype, but it is what it is. In 1923, his character makes a living by shooting things and has no problem doing so to save his life or others. He's hands-on and present in the moment. He's able to adapt, is flexible, and is quick on his feet. He tends to handle everything calmly but with authority, and he does not hesitate in telling others what he wants in making decisions. My only downside is that he might be too young to realistically buy that he's done all his training, had his Bat family, and has a son in that span. But that's not up to me to figure it out. Also, he's from New Jersey, so that's kind of cool to point out considering the location of Gotham. And that concludes the Bat Family plus Batman fancast for the DCU. Let me know what you thought about the list. Anything you agree with? Anything I changed your mind on? Anything you completely disagree with? I'd like to know your personal fancast down below. I know this video will get dated. It is what it is. Speaking of which, expect a fancast for the Teen Titans later in the year, given that just confirmed at the time of this recording. It might drive me insane like the Joker, but sure, why not? If you like reviews and opinions on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, subscribe to this channel, Red Devil O's Reviews, for more of that content. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.